Hey dreamers, and welcome to Dreamers Unite, the talk show for dreamers. I am your host, Sherri Pullum, and I am honored as always to have you join this channel. Thank you so much. On this show, well, we talk about our dreams. We unpack how can we live our life full of purpose. How can we express all the potential that we have inside of us? How can we live life to the fullest, right? And how can we manifest those dreams? Well, today I have a wonderful guest on this show. She is an actress extraordinaire, and I should know because she also performed with me. Yay! I am bringing you my friend, as I said, an actress, a producer. I can't wait till you meet her. So let me tell you a little bit more about her, and I'm sure you want to know who she is. Yes? Her name is Messeret Stroman Wheeler. Messeret is an award-winning actress, producer, and philanthropist. She is an Adelco award-winning actor and a 3-time nominee. Her theater credits include Fast Blood, Joe Turner's Come and Gone, Insurrection, Holding History, and Blue. She is also the associate producer of the American Slavery Project. She has acted in a number of television shows, such as The Sopranos, Law and Order, and Law and Order SVU, and my very own Cherry Red Sweet Escape television series pilot. What an honor it is to have her here today. So let's find out about Messeret's journey of becoming a successful actress and how she built her career. Messeret, thank you so much for joining us on Dreamers Unite. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Sherri. It's a pleasure to be here. I love your show.
And I loved working with you. And I love watching you perform. I have seen your performances outside of just working with me, and you are a brilliant, brilliant actress. So I'm honored to have you, really. I'm humbled.
Oh, thank
I have
you.
even worked with you, really. It was an amazing experience.
I had a great time working with you as well. Thank you for hiring me.
Yeah, that was a great time. When did you get, I should say, bitten by the acting bug? And was that always your dream?
Well, let's say bitten by the acting bug. I was in 6th grade. And actually that year, it seems like I had to memorize several things. The first thing that I had to memorize, I think it was a history class. And they said, if you can memorize the Gettysburg Address, then you'll win $5. And, I'm like, woo, $5, that's a lot of money. I'm going to memorize it. So I memorized it. And the teacher was very specific. You have to memorize the whole thing, not just a first few sentences. You've got to memorize the whole thing. And so that was my first kind of foray into memorizing anything. And it seems after that, I had to do something for an assembly we had. And I can't remember if it was the assembly or if it was the assembly and I used it as an audition piece, but I performed The Creation by James Weldon Johnson. And for people who, James Weldon Johnson, the famed Harlem Renaissance poet, writer, civil rights activist, yeah. He also wrote the unofficial National Black Anthem that his brother put music to, also from my hometown. So anyway, I performed that, and there was a theater group that had come into the school to have us do a play. And it was some animals. I have no idea what the play was. I just remember there were animals and I wanted to be one of the animals. Well, I didn't get to be one of the animals. I was very disappointed, but they wanted me to be the narrator. And I look back now and I go, oh, they wanted me to be the narrator because I had delivered The Creation and they knew that I could speak and carry on, So
that's so much better than one of those little animals that probably wouldn't even be talking.
Right, and they weren't. They didn't say anything. At any rate, that was my first time acting. or, kind of, on stage. And I actually grew up as a dancer, so I thought I was going to be a dancer when
Okay.
I was in high school. And my big goal was, boy, it would be great to dance with Prince.
Oh, I think that was every person's big goal.
Right, right.
That was my big goal too.
Was it?
Dance, anything, just sit in his presence.
Right. But, well, that didn't happen. But I ended up studying theater in college. And I think if they had a dance program, I probably would have majored in dance, but there was no dance program. They had a theater program. They had dance company and dance classes. So I was a part of the dance company, Orchesis Dance Company, which was led by Dr. Beverly Barber at FAMU, Florida A&M University. And so I got my theater degree from there and came to New York ready to take it on. So that was kind of my beginnings of being in the theater and being on stage.
How did you come to New York and take it on? How was that experience for you?
Well, I'll tell you, so I'm very blessed. I have a wonderful twin brother, and he moved to Connecticut. He had gotten a job with Connecticut straight out of college, and he said, well, when you're ready, come on up, and I thought, ooh, a little nervous about it, but I saved up a little money, and came up. And what I did was I had written a letter. I'd gotten in touch with my professor, Dr. Ron O. Davis at Florida A&M University. He's since passed. But I got in touch with him, and he helped put me in touch with the Negro Ensemble Company. I wrote them a letter about interning with them or, working with them. And they said, well, you can intern. So I interned when I was living in Connecticut, but it took me, it was like 2 hours to the city, 2 hours home. So I get into the city, I do my intern work, I think it may have been 4 hours or so a day, back on the bus, back home, sleep, back up to sit. It was that kind of thing. It was all work, transportation, and that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
you are a hungry young actress, willing
exactly.
to do it.
Yeah.
And so how did you build your acting career to where you are now?
Well, after that, Susan Watson Turner was working at the at NEC at the time, and she had written a play called Just a Night Out. And I auditioned for her for that, and she brought me in on that, and it was a musical. And I'm not really a musical theater person, but I performed in it mainly as a dancer. And I did have to sing, but, I'm like, I can carry a tune, but I'm not a singer,
I understand. I get it. I'm not a singer either.
Right. So I started that way, and then everything just kind of built from there. I got a commercial agent, booked a commercial. Actually, I think I booked like 2 nationals right away. And then voiceovers opened up from there. And so things have just kind of built gradually. I think we all kind of maybe have plans in our head about how our journey may be. I think I've gotten rid of that a long time ago, because I'm kind of like, things happen. My dream of wanting to dance with Prince, I think, has been exceeded. I think I've kind of, I'm like, I never would have imagined some of the things that have happened. So I've been pretty blessed.
Yes, you have a wonderful career that you've already built so far. What are some of the pitfalls that you experienced, and how did you overcome them?
Pitfalls.
Because we will experience them, dreamers. We're gonna have days, especially especially when no matter what you do, right, as an actor, you still may not be chosen. You can be very talented. You could have studied really hard. You could know the part better than someone else. You could believe I am perfect, and maybe you are, but maybe someone else doesn't see it.
Well, one of the things that I totally jumped over that I did when I first got here was I did temp work. And I also was a workout instructor. So I taught fitness. And that was what I did to kind of help me through those down times. I tell you, with this business, you really have to be versatile. And I remember one of my temp jobs, I worked at Gerber as a receptionist, and they were really wonderful people. And they thought, oh, you'll be great here. Don't you want to stay on permanently? And no, this is just a step, but thank you.
We love
So
you there too.
yeah, it's like we have to, we'll keep in line with what we're doing, but we've got to make money and be able to sustain a living. And so
Absolutely.
when the extra work wasn't happening, I did temp work to kind of help me along in that way.
Yeah. Did you ever think about giving up your career? Did you ever come to you thought about that?
No, I've never thought about that. And I remember one time, actually, when I was doing that temp job, they asked, well, do you think you'll ever, want to just do this? I don't no.
I'm certainly grateful you never thought about it, because we would not have met and we would not have worked together. So I'm
Yes.
grateful you didn't think about it. And please don't ever consider that as an option for you.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of, are just, especially when you have something that you desire to do and you just kind of know that that's your, I want to say, purpose.
Mhm.
Uh, there's no question about not doing it.
Mhm. That's beautiful. That's right. So you have identified your purpose, your gift, and your calling. And dreamers, I think that is huge. And I've often talked about on this show is to identify what we want, because when we're not clear what we want, it is very difficult to go in the right direction in order to be happy, in order to have a career, or to do what it is that you feel this is what I should be spending my life doing, at least right now in this moment, because obviously dreams shift and change. And as you said, you have to be flexible. And you also do even more things other than just acting. You're also a producer. So I want to talk about the American Slavery Project. Tell us about your involvement in that phenomenal project.
The American Slavery Project, we actually are a theatrical response to revisionism in this nation's conversation around enslavement and its aftermath. We champion African American playwrights by presenting their plays with readings, workshops, productions, and we are interested in engaging the community, in conversation to enlighten and educate them. We have been around since 2012. It was founded by Judy Tate. She is the founder, producing artistic director, and also playwright.
And she's
Uh,
amazing as well.
she's also a four-time Emmy Award-winning writer. I am associate producer, social media manager, and sometimes actor with the company. She really founded it as a result of being frustrated. In 2011, it was the 150th year celebration of the Civil War, and there were balls going on celebrating the Civil War. There were 4 main stage productions here in New York City that dealt with slavery, but none of the plays were written by African American playwrights.
Mhm.
And in her frustration, she was having a conversation with a friend of hers who's a playwright, Keith Joseph Atkins and Godfrey L. Simmons Jr., about being frustrated that, they have wonderful work. They're all really wonderful artists, and they weren't being asked to do anything. And so
Mhm.
she commissioned 17 African American playwrights to write what would become Unheard Voices. So I'll also have to say that Unheard Voices, she had a visit down at the African Burial Ground Museum down in Lower Manhattan. And I don't know if you've ever had a chance to go, but what you can see is in their memorializing those souls that have passed they have perhaps the year or the age of the person. There were bones that were found there when they were excavating to build it into a federal building.
Yes.
And there were over 400 and something odd skeletal remains that were there. And these were of enslaved people from the 17th and 18th century. And so with the writers that she commissioned, she had them look over the bones, the remains, and to reimagine what their lives would have been like, and to bring life through a story. Or so each one of them wrote a monologue. Say with what they found, they had the bones. They could tell their age and if they were male or female, but there were no names attached. And she felt like, well, this is perfect. I'm an artist. We will bring life to these people who have passed. And so with the work that was done, we have Unheard Voices, which is a monologue play that is performed with live West African drumming and live West African singing. And it tells, just not the hardships that they endured, but, they had lives. There was love and humor. And so we examine that with our Unheard Voices. Now, currently, what we have on board is we have a new YouTube channel. You can visit us, the American Slavery Project. And we have Fast Blood, which is a full-length play that deals with, it takes place in 1845. An enslaved couple, Effie and Ham, stumble across a mysterious person who becomes a part of their lives. You see the connection, actually, of them. And you also see what Black people endured during that time. We get to see Effie, the character that I play, really kind of come into herself. Without giving too much away, I think,
I know. You're trying not to give too much away, but I think it's important that people know what the project is all about and what the plays are about. And we're going to encourage you to please go to the YouTube channel because it is up, correct?
Correct. Fast Blood is up. We also have another piece called Black Women and the Ballot. Now, Black Women and the Ballot will be coming back. We originally put it up on our site on June 19th.
Phenomenal, by the way. Phenomenal. Both are phenomenal.
Thank you. And we put that up Juneteenth, as a celebration of Blacks being free officially. But Texas was the last place in the States to recognize that slavery had ended. Mm-hmm. And originally after that, every year they would celebrate on the 1st of the year because that was when the Emancipation Proclamation was. So they were celebrating their freedom. It eventually got moved to June 19th on the actual day. And originally, too, when they were celebrating at the beginning of the year, it was about formally informed enslaved people about voting. And so we felt this could be perfect. Black Women in the Ballot is all about the history of Black women's place in voting. But we're very excited about that piece. And it had such a great viewership. People were really happy to see it. Some people knew some of the history, some didn't. We're bringing it back. So I'll have to tell you a little history about Black Women in the Ballot. Last year, we did a reading series called African Americans from Bondage Through Crow. And that was one of the presentations that we had. But we felt like this year is the 100th year celebration. We have to bring it back. We have to do something with it. Now, of course, COVID hit us. So we knew we can't do it as a full-out production like we intended to do. So Judy was very interested, and we had talked about this before, about presenting it as radio dramas. And of course, this is perfect time to do it, and that's what we did. We turned it into radio dramas. And so that's what we'll be bringing back. We were fortunate enough to have our very special guest star, Miss Felicia Rashad, be a part of it, and to partner with 17 theatrical organizations that were cross-promoting with us. They really kind of helped to get the word out. And that will be back on. It entails 3 short radio dramas. The first is Don't Dream. That was written by Saviana Stanescu. It features Lynette Freeman, directed by Judy Tate. And that is the tale of an undocumented immigrant and her dream to vote. Then the middle piece is In the Parlor. It is written by Judy Tate, directed by Diane Kirksey Floyd. I am in it as Mary Church Durrell. We have Gabrielle C. Archer as Edna Brown. We have Celestine Ray as Nellie Quander, and Montana Lampert Hoover as Alice Paul. And I say all of those names because these are real life women who existed, and we tell the tale of 1913 on the eve of the March for Women to Vote. There is a little meeting, I'll say, that occurs that really speaks to Black women being a part of the Women's March in 1913, because white women were not keen on us being a part of the march, but we felt like we should be a part of that as well. And then the last piece is Pulling the Lever. And Pulling the Lever is 3 generations of Black women that speak about their experience voting. And that's the piece. It has Gabrielle C. Archer, who plays my daughter in the piece, and then I'm in it, and our wonderful Miss Felicia Rashad. And what we did with that, we recorded those. So we were all home. We made sure everyone had mics. We were all set up. We had a wonderful woman, Simone Barrows, who did our production. She worked the voice over part of it. And we all in our separate homes, taped it, recorded it, all did it in one day. And it came out, I thought it came out really beautifully. You would never know that we were all in our own homes doing this.
You would never know that. As a matter of fact, I didn't know that. To take those pieces where literally there's multiple characters, it's phenomenal.
Thank you.
And the stories were told so well.
Thank you so much for tuning into it. And I feel too like the language is so rich, right? So we have, especially with In the Parlor, because it was based in 1913, we had these women who were educated women, and it was about educating and pulling up everyone else. Their parents were formerly enslaved people. So there was this real drive and desire for them to excel and to do well and to bring the race along with them.
You're preserving these stories and you're sharing them. It's an important part of our history. All of the stories that the American Slavery Project is producing, important part of our journey. And if we don't tell our own stories, we already know they will not be told. Or they might be told, but not in the way that maybe in the most authentic, truthful way.
The work that Judy did in researching these women, Mary Church Durrell, the woman that I played, her father was one of the first Black billionaires. We don't know, you don't know this in the story we tell, but just researching her backstory, I knew of her, but I did not know the depth of this woman. She was college educated, one of the first Black women to have a college degree. She spoke several languages. She was one of the founders of the NAACP. She spoke at an event over in Germany years ago where she was the only Black woman invited. She delivered her speech in several different languages. So not only were they impressed, all of America, of course, was wonderfully impressed by everything that she accomplished. She helped the women of Delta Sigma Theta form their organization. Edna Brown, who is in the play as well, she was one of the 22 women who were a part of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Now, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated was the first Black Greek organization that was around. Nellie Quander, who's in the play, you'll get to see or hear. both actually, but when you see Black women in the ballot, she was also a part. She was very instrumental. We actually found the letter that
Wow.
Nellie Ponder wrote to Alice Paul to urge her to get the women of Delta Sigma Theta to be a part of the March of 1913. These things happened. Mary Church Terrell was a part of, these women knew each other, and it was about strategizing to become a part of the march. We don't know about this.
Please, American Slavery Project, check out the YouTube channel, check out the work that they're doing.
And of course, you can donate. You can go to our site, and there are big donate buttons that you can press
Very
on.
good.
Because we have been able to do the work that we're doing through grants. Lower Manhattan Cultural Council and UMass Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone have been the grants that we've been awarded in order to do the work that we've done. Yeah, they've been really wonderful that way, and through the kindness of small donors as well. And I shouldn't say small, everyone, the donations that they give go straight to the work that we do that really helps, I think, inform and educate us all.
Yes, and meaningful, powerful, much needed, worthy work. What core values do you take to heart, and how do they benefit you in your life?
I think essentially the greatest and simplest thing that we could all do well to live by is to treat others as you'd have them treat you, right? Because we're all out here doing the best that we can. And so I think that is the key, to just treat others as you'd have them treat you. You would want somebody to be kind to you. You be kind to people. Kindness goes a long way.
It sure does. And you certainly are a really positive spirit, a really positive person. I don't think I've ever spoken to you and you are not this big, beautiful, brilliant smile that you possess, this radiant smile. Even when I speak to you on the phone, I can hear that smile in your voice. How do you stay positive?
So I think, you just count your blessings. That's what keeps me grounded.
Of gratitude.
Yeah, you count your blessings and realize how fortunate you are to have the things that you do have. I'm very happy that I'm able to pursue the career that I want to pursue. I'm also very lucky that my husband has been in the field and he understands the ups and downs of it all. And one of the things that he helped me do, we got together our sound booth so that I could do voiceover bookings at home. And so actually I just booked something for the first time recently that I recorded in my home
Snaps booth. Up here on Dreamers Unite.
So yeah, I think we just continue to kind of be in the now, like really embrace the good things that you have going on in your life.
Dreamers and anyone watching, I think everyone's really a dreamer. You may not even identify yourself as that, but everyone has something in their heart. You might not even know it, that you're a goal, even if you just have a goal, whatever that goal is, you're a dreamer. So be grateful, just be thankful for the blessings that you do have. The practice of gratitude definitely allows us to focus on goodness so we can attract more of that, right?
Right.
Yeah. And the other thing is, listen, we all may have a bad day or two or bad time, and focusing on something that you're thankful for does really help you to kind of shift your mindset. I'm not saying you won't feel bad, right, Messeret? We're not saying that. What we're trying to encourage you to do is, how can you shift out of that?
Right, exactly.
What has been one of your most embarrassing moments on stage, and how did you get through it?
So stage, not necessarily on stage, but behind the stage, I've had a couple of things happen. I was doing a show called Blue. This is the one with Phylicia Rashad we were doing down in DC. And I had a change. I think I had maybe 3 or 4 changes in the show, wigs and everything, because it was started in the 70s. So I had the big Afro puffs, and then it went to straightened hair, then to short and curly or something like that. And so one of the changes I had from the hot shorts and the Afro puffs, I had to change into, address into some platform shoes that were very, very high. And so it's fine. It's okay. I grew up as a dancer. I know about dancing on heels or moving around on heels. That's no problem. But I had to change, and I went downstairs to change. I was trying to run up the stairs to get to the stage for my cue. I tripped up the stairs and I broke the heel.
Oh my.
Right. And I think these were like authentic shoes from the 70s.
Oh.
So they didn't have another pair, but I had to run back downstairs and put on just a pair of heels that that the character had, and get back to get on stage. But I thought, oh my gosh, these are the wrong shoes. And oh my gosh, did I break anything? I didn't break an ankle. I just broke the heel of the shoe.
Well, I almost were going to think you were going to say you broke your ankle or something. So that would be even worse.
I know. And then another time, it was always something with my legs or something. I was backstage doing this play. Arthur Finch and Rashada Abrams were in the play with me. Actually, they played my parents. And backstage, there was a kind of rickety way that the stairs were built to get on the stage. And I fell and scraped up my legs. So they were bleeding. I had to kind of just try and wipe them down real quick. You couldn't see it. Because I remember talking to people afterwards saying, oh my gosh, my legs. And they were like, oh, we couldn't even see it. And I was thinking, because of course you go on stage with all of that that's just happened, but also trying to stay focused on what you're doing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is amazing, right? That able to go through all that and then stay focused and present.
Right.
I also want to say Miss Phylicia Rashad. Oh goodness, how much do we love her?
I know.
How much do I love her? I think I shared this with you that years ago. I just want to say that she's such an amazing, like a warm. Not only is she beautiful and talented and just all that and more, but her spirit and her giving to other actors. I had the privilege years ago of understudying her. I don't think I've ever shared this on camera. I don't even know if you know that. In Blues for an Alabama Sky at the Hartford Stage Company.
Oh.
And she was so kind and so warm and giving. Yes. And I was so intimidated. I can still talk about as an understudy. It was my first time ever understudying someone. I was so honored to be asked.
I understand that nervousness. I was very nervous when I had booked the role to be in the play with her, because I originally thought, sometimes you get this feeling like, I did really good on that audition. I felt really good about that audition. But I was so exhausted because I'd had an audition the day before, and it was a pretty heavy piece that took a lot out of me. So I was really tired. I mean, I got the script the night before for the play Blue, and I read through it, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I know who this character is. I'm tired. I got to go to sleep. And so I went in, I did the audition. I felt really good about the audition. Maybe 3 weeks later, I didn't hear anything. And I remember saying to a friend of mine, I was like, I did really good on that audition, but they probably went with a name because, she's Phylicia Rashad. So, they probably went with a name. And I think that day I got a call for a callback. And still I'm thinking, well, it's probably me and a quadrillion other women. And it was just between me and one other woman. So I felt like, okay, I did do good on that audition.
That's right.
And it was a really beautiful experience working with her. I mean, like you said, she's warm and generous and very even, humble, just a wonderful human being.
Yes. I just had to take that moment for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to switch to Cherry Red Sweet Escape.
Yes.
What about that? The television pilot. Um, you know, it was, again, it was such a pleasure working with you. What was your experience on working on set on Cherry Red Sweet Escape and working with me? Okay, dreamers, so you can find out a little bit more about Cherry Red Sweet Escape. Yes.
Well, I was so happy, first of all, that you had taken the reins, written this project, you were producing, and you were the lead in it. And I'm just so impressed by that. And I love that you're shopping it around and you've got interest and, you know, behind the scenes talk that we can't share here. But that's really wonderful to know, because sometimes we just kind of have to do that, you know, do things that we want to do and just kind of see what happens. And you're doing that in big ways. Dreamers Unite, another example. And working on set with you was wonderful. It was nice and easy and smooth, and everyone was really kind. You had a great crew.
Yeah.
The scene that we had was fun and wonderful. There was no you know, we just didn't have to go through a lot of trouble with it. That's what it should be about, right? Just
Yeah.
easy work and doing the work.
Doing the work. I think for me too is knowing that I could do it. It was such a challenge where I said to someone, you know, listen, and I already know you understand this too, as acting and writing and producing. I'm like, oh my God, I think I grew a hair on my chest, literally. It's so hard. It's like lifting up something with the strength of 1,000 men and women, because I'm including women in there too, because we are strong. Um, but I just mentioned it because I don't talk about Cherry Red Sweet Escape as often on this show. And someone mentioned it to me and said, why don't you talk a little bit more about your journey too and what you're doing? And I try to, I mean, the point is, listen, people, dreamers, I really want to show you at the end of the day, it's not about ego, it's about purpose and living in your calling. And it really is about saying, you know what, if I can do it, this whole thing for me, this whole platform really is about highlighting people so you can see people that have made it and some that are in the process of their journey that are still on the way to getting that dream or that goal or that vision, and to really understanding, you know what, if they can do it, and to have a model to say, you know what, if that happened to them, I can too. And to talk about the pitfalls and to talk about, um, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. It's all a part of our journey. It's not all going
Yeah.
to be sweet. It's not all going to be terrible. It
Mhm.
is just what we say it is. It's a journey and a process. So Messeret, thank you for indulging me for a minute and
Oh, absolutely.
talking about our journey together, because I'm grateful to have met you and we've been friends. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's
And
been really wonderful. It's so great to know you, because you're always really wonderfully positive as well, even just with the work that you're doing. It's really wonderful that, you know, that you're celebrating so many different people in their chosen fields and highlighting the work that they're doing. That's really, pat yourself on the back. And I'm giving you a hug, a
oh,
virtual
thank
hug.
you. I'm going to give myself a little hug too. And I'm going to give you a virtual hug and a high five.
Thank
And
you.
then I'll slip you your money later.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and you're a mom and a wife, you know, tackling that on too.
I am a
You
mom
know,
and a wife, a mom of three.
three. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm
Nothing to
grateful
sneeze
for
at.
my lights. Yeah, well, listen, I will have. That's why Cherry Red Sweet Escape is even born. You know, is that juggle of this woman that is a mom and a wife and trying to figure it all out. Where is her purpose? Where does she fit into the world?
I'm gonna say too, you know, we talk about pitfalls, and one of the things about this business that I tell you is the unknown. You know, the unknown is great, and it's also scary. Uh, I booked this commercial, I remember, and it was a national network. It was a new pain medicine. And I had the on-camera commercial. They were going to do print for it. So I had several different things, and maybe even I might have been doing the voiceover for it. It was wonderful. And we were set, did the shoot. I thought, oh, this is so nice. They had me in a beautiful apartment that they shot it in. And I think 3 months later, we were thinking, okay, well, the drug still had to get FDA approval. Okay, well, this is exciting. 6 months later, FDA did not approve it. It did not get approval. That was gone.
That's
So,
right.
this business, you just never know. One day you can get something and then.
Well, yeah, and you know what? Really and truly, that's life. Whether you're
Yeah.
an entertainer, a performer or not, that's life.
Right.
As Forrest Gump's mama said, life is like a box of chocolates.
Box of chocolates.
You never know what you're gonna get, and what are you gonna do with what you do get? What are
Right.
you gonna do with it, dreamers?
Right.
That's what it's about. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am going to give you a sentence to complete. If I had one wish, my wish would be to.
If I had one wish, my wish would be that everyone could be happy. That, I think, essentially is what it kind of boils down to. We have a lot of strife and civil unrest that's going on, but I think it's all because people are not happy. What goes into making people happy, I do think, is re-educating, and a lot of people are now aware of things, but in order to be happy, we've got to revisit some things and make some things right.
Yes.
But my outcome is that everyone would be happy.
See, is that not a selfless answer, dreamers? That's what you talk about when you see the heart and the soul of a being. Yeah, Messeret, Stroman, Wheeler. How can people find you?
So I'm on all the forums. Well, I'm not on TikTok, but I am on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, Messeret, Stroman, Wheeler. And my website is www.messeret.me. And of course, visit the American Slavery Project's website at www.americanslaveryproject.org. And feel free to donate if you can, but also go on the site and just see the work that we've done. And I think you'll be impressed. And then go to our YouTube channel and view Fast Blood that is currently running. And on August 15th, we will have Black Women in the Ballot back up to celebrate women's suffrage and the right to vote. And this is also an election year, so we encourage you to vote. And if you aren't registered, register and vote. And that'll be up through to the election. And so you have a lot to do.
You have a lot to do, dreamers, and I'm going to give you one more thing to do. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
Haven't subscribed yet. Messeret, tell them what to do.
Subscribe to Dreamers Unite. Our dear, wonderful Sherri. Be supportive of her and the work that she's doing. I champion you. I thank you so much for having me on to talk about American Slavery Project and the work that we're doing. I invite your dreamers to join us, and thank you so, so much.
Oh, Messeret, thank you so much. You are really, it's a privilege to know you, and I'm honored to have you, not just to know you, but you're in my circle. And dreamers, I am going to say thank you once again for joining me. And as usual, I am grateful. Please comment and share. And again, like us. And I will see you next time.